Welcome back to Capitol Review. President Trump continues to move forward with his agenda, and he has the House and the Senate backing him. Democrats nationwide are calling for their party to do more, while others say now's the time to prepare for the midterms. And joining us now is Ashwani Jain. He's a Democratic strategist who in 2022 made history as the youngest candidate to run for governor of Maryland. Ashwani, welcome to Capitol Review.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're glad to have you. Ashwani, you wrote an op-ed recently called Project 2027, How Democrats Can Reclaim Congress. Now, you use strong language, saying that if Democrats fail to take back Congress, we risk losing the ability to stop the dangerous erosion of democracy. Strong, strong words. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I didn't have to write it in the first place, but the truth is that Trump's first few weeks have mirrored actions taken in 1930s Germany. He's delegitimizing the press, he's dismantling government agencies, he's destroying diversity and inclusion efforts, demonizing minority communities, and distorting science and facts. And so, as I wrote, if Democrats fail to take back Congress, we do risk the ability to stop that erosion of democracy. And so in Project 2027, I focus on very specific and very tangible actions that Democrats, both leaders and voters, can take in both the short term and also the long term.
Talk about what Democrats need to do between now and the 2027 midterms. Is it about kitchen table discussions?
Yeah, all the above. In the short term, it asks our elected officials to hold Republicans accountable through congressional hearings and subpoenas and refusing to comply with dangerous federal mandates. It asks voters to attend town halls to directly confront politicians and demand action, push state attorney generals to challenge unjust federal policies, and then use the power of our purchasing dollars. Just as votes hold politicians accountable, our dollars can hold companies accountable. And in the long term, yes, the Democratic Party needs to earn back the trust of voters, because the reality is that 60 to 80% of eligible Democratic voters just don't vote. In local elections, turnout is usually around 20% nationwide, and in national elections, it averages around 40%. And so that means the majority of people who can vote don't. And it's because they want bold leadership. And so Project 2027 outlines 8 key policies that are supported by a majority of Democrats, including those in rural areas and purple states. That's everything from access to safe abortions and gender-affirming care, a ban on fracking and drilling, making public college free and canceling student debt, Medicare for all, universal background checks, supporting human rights in places like Gaza, a real living wage, and concrete election reform, which includes term limits, banning PAC donations, and ranked choice voting. So in summary, we need to be more progressive, not run from it, in order to engage these voters.
Ashwani, they also talk about in the last election that the Democrats, their messaging needs to be tighter, that Republicans, specifically Donald Trump, had a tighter messaging strategy. You talked about a lot of things that Democrats want to tackle, but as far as that messaging, should it be tighter?
I mean, I would say it's a lot easier to message around fear and anger than hope and inclusion. But yes, when in 2024, we saw 6 million fewer Democrats come out to vote for Harris than for Biden in 2020. It's because the Democratic Party was offering more of the same, whereas Trump and the Republicans had a bold vision. I would argue that vision was rooted in hate. And so what I argue now is Democrats need to present an equally bold vision on tangible kitchen table issues, and one that's rooted in equity and inclusion, and focusing on those issues, focusing more on voters, not just donors, and then campaigning up and down the ticket to do so.
Ashwani, some Democrats, especially on social media, have expressed disappointment of Democratic leadership, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. Some say they should be screaming from the rooftops about what's taking place. Your thoughts? Can they do more? Should they sound the alarm more aggressively?
Absolutely. They need to be doing more. They need to, as I mentioned earlier, and I mentioned in my Project 2027, we need to hold current Republican Congress members accountable. We need to issue subpoenas. We need to have congressional hearings. And they need to host more town halls in communities all around the country that talk about what are they going to do right now to fight back against these efforts, and also what are they going to do moving forward in terms of a policy agenda that will help the average American's day-to-day life. Because what we're seeing right now is reckless, it is dangerous, it is cruel. Just look at the dismantling of all these federal agencies, along with all these federal employees. Everyone in this country benefits from the work that these agencies and these public servants do. And so we need to call that out and, again, be very loud about it.
Ashwani Jain, thank you very much for joining us on Capitol Review.